Shalom. Welcome to the deep dive, where we take your curiosity, your sources, and our analysis, and, well, see if we can send them straight to specialty status.
Yeah, today we've got a really fascinating mission, actually. We're looking at Kopi Dem from Pukmas Berkatani, Norway, and the goal is basically to prove, using science and, the community story, that Robusta coffee can hit that specialty mark.
Which is a big claim for Robusta. And this whole deep dive, it kicked off with a really nice personal connection. Our contributor, Abraham Andy, got this coffee from his friend, Rio Iwa,
Okay.
who in turn got it from their friend Hendra over in Malang. So it's like this chain of friends sharing something good.
That's really cool. A community product shared through the community. And Andy's first take on it, that must have been interesting.
It was. He said right away it was so nutty, with that typical Robusta bitterness. And this is key, it also had a slight sweetness and cocoa aroma.
Ah, sweetness and cocoa. Not what you always expect up front with Robusta.
Exactly. And he noticed the roast color, too. Just brown, he said, not that really dark, almost black color you sometimes see. So that initial taste profile, nutty, sweet cocoa, that's our starting point.
Okay, let's dig into the technical side first, because this coffee is labeled 100% coffee canephora. That's Robusta, plain and simple.
Right. And Robusta, well, it carries some baggage, doesn't it? Historically, it's seen as the lower quality bean, good for instant coffee, maybe bulking up blends, known mostly for, strong bitterness and a lot of caffeine.
A lot is right. We're talking, what, 2.2 to 2.7% caffeine, compared to Arabica's maybe 1.1 to 1.5%. It's almost double sometimes.
So when Kopi Dem puts 100% Robusta right on the front, that's a bold move. They're
Yeah.
basically saying, yeah, we know what this is, and it's good.
It's a direct challenge, because specialty usually means a cupping score over 80, and Robusta historically has a tough time getting near that. So Kopi Dem is saying, hey, with the right place, the right terroir, and the right processing, we can absolutely make specialty Robusta.
Okay, but hang on. If it's naturally more bitter and has all that caffeine, how do they get it to taste sweet and balanced, like Andy described? How isn't it just overwhelming?
Ah, that's where the environment comes in. The terroir. This Kopi Dem, it's grown up on the slopes of Gunkankawi. Altitude is between 650 and 850 meters above sea level.
Right, which is pretty decent for Robusta, but not super high like some Arabicas. Does that specific range matter that much?
Oh, absolutely. Even within the Robusta comfort zone, that higher end of the altitude range makes a difference. It actually slows down how fast the coffee cherry matures.
Okay, so it ripens more slowly.
Exactly. You can think of it like the altitude gives the Robusta bean a bit of a luxury extra time on the branch. Usually that's something you associate more with high-grown Arabica.
And that extra time lets it develop more complexity.
Precisely. More complex sugars, different acids can form. It helps take the edge off that harsh bitterness you get from Robusta grown lower down, where it matures really quickly.
That makes a lot of sense. Slower is more complex. Okay, so altitude helps, but then there's the processing. They use the natural process, right? The dry process.
Yes, and that's crucial for the sweetness Andy picked up on. With the natural process, they dry the entire coffee cherry skin, pulp, bean, everything, all together.
So the bean is sitting inside the fruit as it dries.
Correct. And while it's drying, the bean, the seed inside, it's absorbing sugars and other compounds directly from that fruity layer, the mucilage.
Mucilage, right? That's sticky stuff.
That's the one. So that absorption process is where that manna salami, the natural sweetness they list on the bag, actually comes from.
So it's not an added flavor. It's drawn from the fruit itself during drying. Wow.
But this is also where things can go wrong if you're not careful. Natural processing is tricky.
How so?
Well, if it's not managed perfectly, if the drying isn't even, or if there's too much moisture, you can easily get unwanted flavors. Things like mustiness or fermented, almost funky tastes, defects.
Ah, okay. So the fact that Kopi Dem tastes clean, sweet, and nutty.
It really backs up their claim on the package. Diola dengan istimewa. Processed exceptionally well. It shows real skill from the producers.
Okay, so farming and processing set the stage, gave it that clean canvas and inherent sweetness. But then the roasting comes in to develop those specific flavors. And you mentioned the kakang, nutty, and cacao, cocoa. This isn't just subjective taste, is it? There's actual chemistry happening.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about chemical reactions during the roast. Let's take the kakang or nutty note first. That primarily comes from a group of compounds called pyrazines.
Pyrazines, okay. How are they formed?
They're created during something called the Maillard reaction. This happens when sugars and amino acids interact at high temperatures inside the roasting drum.
Maillard reaction. That sounds familiar. Isn't that what happens when you like sear meat or toast bread?
Yeah,
That browning.
exactly. That's a perfect analogy. That browning process creates those toasty, nutty, sometimes even savory flavor compounds. So good roasters trying to encourage the formation of these specific pleasant pyrazines.
I'm not going too far and burning them, I guess.
Precisely. And then you have the cacao or cocoa note. That's linked to other compounds, things like theobromine, which is actually found in chocolate, and also compounds called furans.
Crurans.
Yeah, furans often result from the breakdown of sugars during roasting. Depending on the roast level and how it's managed, these can contribute flavors ranging from, say, milk chocolate all the way to a more intense dark chocolate character.
So the roast level itself is a really deliberate choice here. They couldn't just roast it super dark like some commercial Robusta.
No way. If they went too dark, they'd obliterate all those complex flavors they worked so hard to build through farming and processing. That medium roast level they chose for Kopi Dem, that's the sweet spot.
Literally and figuratively.
Right. It's a balancing act. It keeps that characteristic Robusta body and strength, that satisfying fullness, but it carefully manages the bitterness and really allows those nutty pyrazines and chocolatey furans to shine. Any darker, you just taste roast, maybe ash. They really nailed the balance.
Okay, we've got the science, the farming, the processing, the roasting. But the story isn't complete without the people behind it. This isn't just beans, it's a product of a specific group. Who exactly is Pokmas Berkatani Nawiji?
And this part is, I think, really compelling. This isn't some big faceless coffee company. It's a local community group, Pokmas Berkatani Nawiji. It translates roughly to the United Blessed Farmers Group.
A farmer group.
Yeah, and our sources show they're not just doing coffee. They're involved in diversification. So they're building resilience in multiple ways. This is really the essence of Kopi Tani coffee, produced and value added by the farmers themselves.
Kopatani,
Yeah.
farmer coffee. That changes the whole dynamic, doesn't it? It's not just selling raw beans as a commodity. It's about capturing more value, building quality, and, well, empowering the community.
Exactly. And this group, Berkatani Nyawiji, they're relatively new, formed in 2023. And significantly, they got started with support from the local church, the GKJW.
Jito JW, the East Java Christian Church.
Right. In the Summerdam Bangkalan area, where apparently something like 80% of the people depend on coffee. So the church playing a role in supporting this initiative makes sense. They just got their official government recognition this year, 2024, and have about 28 members.
You know, that connection to the GKJW fits a larger pattern we've seen. The church has had this Economic Empowerment Task Force, PPW, they call it, running since the early 2000s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, specifically aimed at helping members facing economic difficulties. So this isn't just a one-off project. It seems like part of a longer-term strategy to support livelihoods in the community, which, frankly, probably gives them the stability to try something ambitious like high-quality Robusta.
That makes total sense. So Kopi Dem seems to be emerging from this environment of, local cooperation, maybe even interfaith collaboration, all focused on community upliftment.
That's a powerful context. Okay, so for you, the listener, if you're lucky enough to track down some Kopi Dem, let's talk about brewing. How do you get the best out of this specific coffee?
The goal is really to highlight that Robusta strength, right? The body, the richness, definitely. To really maximize that body, that kick talent, as they say, the French press, is probably your best bet.
Why the French press specifically?
Because it uses a metal mesh filter instead of paper. That means all the coffee oils and some very fine coffee particles actually make it into your cup. That contributes directly to a heavier, richer mouthfeel. That full body, which is such a hallmark of good Robusta.
Okay, full immersion, metal filter, maximum body. Got it. What if someone prefers a cleaner cup, though? Maybe they want to focus more on those cocoa and nutty notes.
Well, in that case, a pour-over method could work well. Something like a V60 or maybe a Chemex, you'll use a paper filter there.
And that'll filter out the oils and fines.
Exactly. So you'll sacrifice some of that heavy body, definitely. But the trade-off is clarity. It can make it easier to pick out those specific flavor notes, the cacao, the kakang, a bit more distinctly.
Makes sense. So French press for body, pour over for clarity. What about trying to evaluate it more systematically like the pros do? Can you do a sort of mini cupping at home?
Absolutely. It's a great way to learn. There are a few key steps. First, start with the aroma, curing or dry aroma. Just smell the ground coffee before you add any water. See if you can pick up those dominant cocoa or nutty smells right away.
Okay, dry grounds first. then brew.
Right. Use water that's just off the boil, maybe around 93 degrees Celsius or 200 Fahrenheit. Let it steep for about 4 minutes. A crust of grounds will form on top.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So the next step is aroma bassa, the wet aroma. You gently push aside that crust with a spoon and get your nose right in there. This releases a big burst of aromatic compounds. This is often where you'll really notice that natural sweetness they talk about.
Break the crust and inhale. Got it. Then tasting.
Then tasting or participant. Let the coffee cool down a bit, maybe to around 70 Celsius, 160 Fahrenheit. You don't want to scald yourself. Then, and this is important, you slurp it loudly.
Slurp it, seriously.
Seriously. Slurping sprays the coffee across your entire palate, engaging all your taste buds. Don't sip politely. As you slurp, focus on the body. It's thick, thin, medium. Then identify the flavors. Are you getting that cocoa? The nuttiness, the sweetness.
Okay. Body flavor. What else?
And finally, pay attention to the aftertaste. What lingers after you swallow? Is it clean? Is there sweetness? Or is there that harsh bitterness that sometimes plagues Robusta? Evaluating Kopi Dem this way, you can really appreciate if they achieved that clean, sweet finish they were aiming for. You know, when you put it all together, Kopi Dem really feels like more than just coffee. It's kind of a blueprint, wouldn't you say?
I think so. It's the success story that's not about like massive industrial scale, but about careful farming, taking risks with processing, like the natural method, and crucially, that community collaboration.
It really showcases the potential that's still sitting there in Indonesian Robusta. It's about the terroir, yes, but also about the human element, the skill and dedication.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening as you think about the coffee you drink. Beyond just the taste, beyond the science of pyrazines and furands. What does this rise of Kopi Tani, this farmer-led, community-focused approach, really mean? What could it mean for the future of Indonesian agriculture? Or even how we think about coffee is often dismissed as commodity crops around the world. Something to chew on. See you again. Keep productive. Stay healthy. Salam Kopi.